welcome, Daily Double Podcast. Today we're going to be highlighting the best weight race of the weekend, the Stephen Foster run at Churchill Downs this weekend on June 28th, Saturday, Churchill's closing weekend.
Right. Yes.
I think this race ended up coming back as a Breeders' Cup Classic preview type of quality race. What do you think?
Yeah. You know what? It's the only thing it lacks is a real fast speed horse. But other than that, other than Ashcroft, every horse in the race is a high quality horse. If you add up all the earnings come up to about $20 million with all these horses.
Yeah, we were looking through it. It's pretty crazy. I mean, Ashcroft, the 7, is the only horse in the field to not have eclipsed $1 million worth of earnings,
Exactly.
which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is. It's extreme. It's extreme.
So, okay, let's talk, because we talked a little bit at dinner about this, but I think it's fun. The origin of the race. Who is Stephen Foster?
Stephen Foster, born in 1826. He was the father of American music. He was the first man in this country to write over 200 songs, and he was famous throughout the country. He wrote "Oh Susanna," he wrote "My Old Kentucky Home," he wrote "Swanee River." He was prolific. He was famous all over the United States.
Dying at a very young age of 37.
37 in New York City.
Said to have died from, what was it, the flu?
Well, they said he had the flu, but they said he slipped and fell and cut his neck and his head and died in a hospital. You know, back then, there were all kinds of things.
So I wonder if they used the old, like when Churchill Downs adopted My Old Kentucky Home.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's
It's
a
an
good question. I would wonder. But you got to remember, picture people learning his songs. They sang them all over the country.
Right.
He was the father of American music. I mean, this to have a race named after you,
Yeah.
it's pretty severe.
It
It's
is.
pretty severe stuff.
It is. So this weekend, Stephen Foster, Grade 1, a mile and 1/8, race 11 at Churchill Downs. We have $1 million purse for the race. And let's see here. We have 7 horses going. I think because we've talked about how important the pace setup and the actual like framework of the race is, talk to me about that. How do you see the early, you know what I mean? How do you see the race going?
That's my main concern. If there was a couple legitimate speed horses in this race, I would give more horses an opportunity to win this race. But I think Mindframe and First Mission are going to be with the pace, definitely with the pace. Sierra Leone, Hit Show, they're going to be back 7-8 lengths. Mystic Dan maybe stalking 4 or 5 lengths from the lead with Skippy. Skippy maybe could be a little bit closer, But these two horses both have shown better speed. If they don't duel, which I don't think they will, they might go pretty far. They might be hard to run down.
Who do you think has the lead going into the first turn?
I think the 2, if they want, is more tactical, even though Louis Saez is on the 1, and we know what Louis can do sometimes with a racehorse out of the gate, But if you look at his record, I don't think there's a race that he went to the lead, maybe one race in his last 10, where he went to the lead out of the gate.
Right.
He runs better in his stalk position. Mindframe coming off of sprints. They might send Mindframe tomorrow. That could be the intention. You think?
I do. I think that they do commit to pushing Mindframe. I think Irad is tactical and a smart enough rider to notice if Louis sends First Mission with a little bit of like a blitzkrieg, like it's the lead or bust. I think he would pull back a little bit.
Definitely. It'll just happen naturally. That's the situation.
But I do think he has I do think he gets the lead. He has a bullet workout June 13th, leading into another nice time here workout on June 21st. Mindframe, Irad Ortiz, Todd Pletcher. I think you know what's interesting about Mindframe? In a world where Dornoch doesn't exist, this horse is undefeated. You know what I'm saying?
True, but my concern is in those 2 distance races, and they were distance races.
Yep. They were.
He looked like he was going to go past Dornoch. And when Irad swung him out, the horse, when he showed him the crop, the horse bore out a little bit. He did it twice. He seems to have a little problem with that. We got to hope he matured. This is his first two-turn race of the year. He might come into this really fresh, you know?
Right.
But I mean, it might be better if he's on the lead and then he won't be chasing somebody. That could maybe really benefit him.
That was my thought going in, especially a race that comes up as fragile as this one when it comes to speed, a race that could be broken early. What about, nothing says a horse doesn't have to swing wide, doesn't have to show a lack of discipline in the lane like a horse on the lead. He really could just say, see you later. From an off-the-pace standpoint, who do you think has a better chance, given the way the race kind of shapes out, to make that late move? A Mystic Dan from the middle or a Sierra Leone from a little bit further back?
I see little knocks on all four of the closers.
Okay, let's hear it.
Skippy, I've played throughout his career. He usually runs good against a certain level. When he's met the grade ones, he's had a tendency to maybe run third. He puts in an effort. I mean, he did a nice race in California, and he's turned into a little bit more consistent, but at a grade 3 level.
Yeah.
Mystic Dan, I had him last time. I thought he looked great in the paddock. I think he's ready for another good outing. I like his work, but his numbers still aren't as strong as some of the others. I don't believe. Hit Show made that one huge move in My Dan to win a huge purse. I mean, he's earned $8 million or so.
It's crazy.
But even Brad Cox said in the article I read is that my horse, he's going to be way back and he doesn't have much to run at. I think Brad likes First Mission a lot better, And then who's the other? I'm missing one horse. And Sierra Leone.
Leone.
Yeah, I got a little bitter taste in my mouth, Sierra Leone. We played him in multiple times when he didn't fire. He ran at Fairgrounds this year. A Louisiana bred beat him by 4 lengths. I mean, he still got a 103 bar, but he never fired at all.
Yeah.
Does this race set up for him? I'm sure Chad's even concerned about the pace of this race. What do you think? Who would you give a chance to out of those big 4? Because Ashcroft we're not going to consider. Out of those big 4, who can make the strongest run to you?
I think I like Mystic Dan the most because I think you could see another Kentucky Derby-esque run and placing from him early with the lack of speed. Maybe Brian Hernandez says, let's try and get to the rail. Let's save some of our energy. Let's get a really, really good position. Let's wait. And then let's rely on maybe Mindframe not kicking away and running away from us at the very end. You also have to take into consideration Mystic Dan has run Churchill Downs 4 times. He's got 3 wins. Right. So if there was a racetrack for him to put forward his best effort, you got to think it's here.
Yeah, right. And his recent work is pretty good. I circled it. There's a good work. I think it's just a matter of every horse in this race, depending upon the flow of the race, looks like they can win it. I think certainly more Mystic Dan, Sierra Leone, and the 2-speed horses make the most sense. Hit Show comes further back. He's a little more erratic. Still can throw in a big one. He won that race in My Dan. He beat Forever Young. Skippy, like I said, I think Skippy, he ships the Charlestown and wins. He ships the California wins, more like grade 3s,
Definitely. Okay, so before we get to how we're going to play the race, right now, who do you feel has the strongest chance to win? Are you in my camp, or you kind of feel like Mindframe just has the best win?
I might be I think the 1 and the 2 are going to go to the wire together. And I think whoever gets the better positioning or the better jump, this horse has come off a couple really fine races. First Mission. His last race,
he ran a 109.
It was at Oaklawn Park. We've seen some numbers at Oaklawn Park. Horses can't duplicate it at some of these other tracks,
Right.
And that's a concern. But he has run well at Churchill. He was run good in the Clark. He's run good in the Slop in case the track's a little bit off. There's a couple chances of showers. But I don't know. I'm leaning towards him a little bit just because I got that sour taste when Mind Frame I thought should have went by Dornock. But nonetheless, his sprint back, he beat Nisos and Mulligan and Bucadano this year. I mean, he's come back. He's come back solid. He's ready for good events.
I definitely agree. I think that he's ready to put forward a really, really solid effort. He also looks like he was off he ran his last race last year in August, took some time off, came back in the Razorback, runs a 102.
Right.
And that was in February. Then fires again in April, 109, Beyer, and wins.
It was a great race.
And the Oaklawn Handicap, that at a mile and an eighth. This distance here, a mile and an eighth again. Is there a world where, his third race off the layoff really is going to be his best performance?
It could very well be. It could very well be. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, it's a high quality horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I really only think the one could beat him. That's the only horse I think that could beat him.
Okay, so let's talk about how to play the race, because in a race like this, it's kind of interesting, because if I was the morning line odds maker, or if I had to bet Saturday, what time is the post here for this race? It's in the evening, 6:03.
6:03.
Saturday, I'd say 5:50 p.m. You look at the board. I think you see Mind Frame at 9 to 5. I think you see First Mission at 5 to 2, and then I think you see the Skippy, Sierra Leone, Mystic Dan, all in the 3 to 1 to 4 to 1. If you see a 7 to 2, maybe a 9 to 2 in that range. What do you think?
I think that's close, but sometimes in America, the horses like Sierra Leone and Mystic Dan get a bigger following. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't Derby time of year.
Right.
So there might not be as many people from a wide group who are saying this. I think this. So I don't think they'll overbet those horses, but there will be a certain amount of money that's going to go to Sierra Leone because he won the Breeders' Cup, and Mystic Dan because he won the Derby.
True.
So I don't know if I'd go 9 to 5, 5 to 2. I might go 5 to 2, 3 to 1 with those horses, maybe 7 to 2. But the Hit Show might get overlooked, and I think Skippy could get overlooked. So Hit Show could go off 6 to 1. Skippy could go off 8 to 1.
Sure.
I think those four horses, though, are going to take the brunt of the betting.
Of the middle money.
That's what I would think.
Okay. So how do you bet a race like this that's kind of like really, really focused into two horses on a win line and then 3 or 4 horses on the place and show line? If you want to make money in this, a little bit of a smaller field, how are you attacking this race?
Well, you know what? My mindset would be I still think that if the 1 and 2 don't duel, and you made a very good case that why would they? I think I might bet a $20 box on the 1-2. I think the exacta's got to pay at least in this race. This exacta probably got to pay $25 to $30, and I think these horses should be pretty game. Now, don't get me wrong. Any one of these horses that we've mentioned on some of these other horses are capable of a huge race.
Yeah.
You know, if they're having a good day, anything can happen. But I would go in, I like an exacta box on it because I like them both.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'll be honest. I really like, for the money play tomorrow, my mind says Mind Frame wins the race. I like Mystic Dan to run a bigger race than the remaining horses. I think on paper, Mystic Dan's a better horse than First Mission. So if I was betting money tomorrow, I would go Mind Frame and First Mission at some point in time in the race link up, and Mind Frame puts him away. And I think that Mystic Dan runs up,
Picks up the pieces.
Yes. So I'd like if I had $50 to bet, I'd go $50 straight 2-5 Mind Frame.
I like that.
Dan.
I could see the potential of that. I don't know. I just think First Mission is primed for one of his better efforts. That's just an instinct. Just an instinct. I think he just comes into the race right.
Well, your instincts are usually good. All right, let me hit you with a curveball. Talk to me about the race if journalism was in the race as well, and it was an 8-horse field, and journalism was running, and he was fresh.
Journalism's best efforts would come at a mile and an eighth. what were his highest buyer? Like 100
I think 105, 104.
105. There might have been a 105. My guess is he could probably come up if he was fresh
Yeah,
and
fresh.
ready to run. I think he could compete with this group.
Do you think he would be favored?
That's a good question. Would he be favored? Would he be favored? I would say maybe co-played.
Right.
I can't see anybody being a prohibitive favorite in this race.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see a ton of people are going to have different horses they like more, and for good reason.
Yes.
For good reason.
Yep. I actually think that sovereignty, geez. I think journalism would be the favorite in the race, maybe based off a little bit of recency bias. But I think journalism would probably sit right in behind First Mission and Mindframe and then just attack.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, probably so. Probably so. And you know what? The numbers are all good. The numbers are all good.
But you made a good point in that any one of these horses in this race are capable of a big number.
Yeah.
Which is fun because if you're tuning in tomorrow into the Stephen Foster, you are I don't say this about a lot of races, you are guaranteed to see a 105 plus buyer performance tomorrow in this race from somebody. Like I'm almost guaranteeing that.
I would think so. And the other thing that we got to mention, tomorrow's the next to last day. They have a nice pick six carryover. It's a 20-cent pick six. It's 1.3 million right now. And there's a few good bets through this pick six that you might be able to hone in on. You maybe could take a handful of these horses and have coverage and whatnot, because in a couple of the races, and you and I are probably going to go over them. I mean, there's a couple races here where I think that there's two races that I think are between two horses.
Yep.
And
so final selection here as we wrap up the Stephen Foster.
1, 2. I'm using the 1. I'm using the 2. I'm going to use them both in my pick 6 and in my pick 5, and I'm going to play an exacta probably with the 2 of them.
I love it. My final selections, I'll go number 2 Mindframe on top of the 5 Mystic Dan. My dad feeling so strong about the number 1 First Mission, I would probably switch my bet up and go $25 exacta 2 over 1.5. Stephen Foster tomorrow, last weekend of Churchill Downs. Have some fun, and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.